I have a question. Not so much my question, but something I've heard, and so I wanted to get better understanding. It's about mantra initiation. I know that for Vedanta, a guru is necessary, but is that necessary? Is a mantra initiation necessary in the Vedantic tradition?
Very good question. Uh, there are some mantras which you can just grab off the internet. You don't need to be initiated, because they say that this particular mantra is so full of piousness and auspiciousness that it delivers itself. Nobody needs to deliver it. One example of that is Om Namah Shivaya. You can just pick it up and start chanting it right away without needing an initiation. But generally, when you receive much more than the mantra. Ideally, the person giving you the initiation, in Sanskrit known as mantra diksha. And ideally, the person giving the initiation is somebody meaningful. And in India, if you go sometimes on Shivaratri day, etc., there are mass mantra dikshas. Like you just go to a random person and get a mantra, that also happens. But ideally, that is not the situation. That person you have some bhakti for, some shraddha for, or you're studying with that person, then you go ask the person for the mantra, and the person gives you the mantra. The person who gives you the mantra has already chanted that for some time, for a length of time. And if they chant the mantra for the length of time and then give it to you, they give you many things. The Guru gives you not only the mantra, but the blessings and the punya, the, what is that called, the good karma that has come from the Guru chanting it is transferred to you via the mantra. So you can ride along with it for free for some time. But then the mantra is, which has been potentized by the Guru, loses its potency and regains it when you start chanting it all by yourself. And then when you chant the mantra, 500,000 times, if it is Om Namah Shivaya, or each syllable is chanted 100,000 times, then you get the power to give it to somebody else. You get what is mantra siddhi. So you get the Guru's grace, you get the mantra, and you also get the permission to to take on to a meditative life. It's almost like receiving that from the Guru makes one accountable. Like, okay, because the mantra is not to keep in the showcase, correct? Yeah. It's not a display. It's not to hang. What is the mantra for? To chant. A feeling. Usually, if I tell myself without the mantra, I'm going to meditate, when will that happen? Not ever. Okay. So then what do I do? So if I get it from the Guru, there is almost like an accountability to meditate, to be able to have that connection. And that is why we say to receive the mantra from the Guru gives many gifts, including the mantra itself. Yes.
I wondered if you believe that consciousness exists after death. I know the soul goes and reincarnates, but an individual consciousness, I wonder if would you say the soul and the consciousness are the same?
Yes and no.
Okay.
That which survives death is what you call soul, jiva. That jiva is not outside of consciousness. Why does it survive death? Because that's what the teachings tell us. And then if it survives death, it goes on to have certain experiences, both pleasant and unpleasant, based on the karma that it did in this life. So that soul, what you call that jiva, is Atma. That jiva is not separate from Atma consciousness. Jiva is Atma, but Atma is not jiva. So it's like, like this cup. Suppose it is not, but supposing this cup was empty, then what will we say? What does it have in it? Space. So this cup space is as though separated from space. But it is an as though separation, it's not real. The cup doesn't have to break for the space to become one with space. For the cup space to become one with space, the cup doesn't have to break. In fact, if the cup has this problem, if the cup space has the problem, we need a space guru, not a spaced out guru, to teach the cup space. You are not cup space. What are you? You are space itself. In fact, cup is space is not in the cup. Cup is in space. This is what we will teach this cup space, which is suffering as a result of a smallness. So similarly, that consciousness has, as though we say, entered, or as though obtaining in this body mind sense complex, nothing happens to it. It just simply is. And if if the individual travels, goes to this loka, that loka, and enjoys good karma, etc., that disembodied individual is also nothing but consciousness. Consciousness is not the disembodied individual. It was all one way. Does that make sense? Yeah. Consciousness doesn't go anywhere. It just takes on the name and form of whatever it has to bless.
Om Namah Shivaya. So, our Christmas, we wouldn't get anything. And I look at some other kids, and they had so much. And they seem so happy. And so, my whole life, I think growing up poor is kind of at least for me, there was a lot of suffering involved. And yet I had nothing, very little, I wore the same clothes every day, all sorts of things. So, how can this be? It seems like, do you understand my question? I don't know.
I do understand.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. You did not deserve that. I'm very sorry that you had this kind of an upbringing. And it must have been hard, especially in this country, in America or wherever it was, to see the world surrounded by celebration, wealth, especially around festivals, and not getting anything, and having to wear the same clothes, not have gifts. This is not the suffering, okay? Having to wear the same clothes is a necessity. That cannot cause suffering. And not getting presents is also not suffering. What is suffering connected to the poverty that you had to endure is the shame. That is the suffering. There is a lot of fear and shame. And somebody growing up in that kind of an economic background has to endure a lot of duress, because you can't fit in. Yet you have to pretend that everything is okay. You don't have what the others have, yet you have to have a stance that I'm not bothered by it. So that is the suffering, because there is a suppression, there is a pretense, there is a masquerade, all these things one does in order to just to be validated as a human being, just to be accepted. That is difficult. Very, very, very difficult. And for a child, the shame is just too much to bear. To grow up with that kind of a shame is very hard. And yet, if we look at it broadly, a lot of people grow up in poverty. Not that that excuses or explains the situation, but it's just a perspective. We can look at it broadly and say, a lot of people grow up in poverty. Why? The reasons are many. Sometimes it is because of the social class system. Some people have everything and some people don't. This is, looking at it socially. Sometimes it is due to the mismanagement of one's finances, of the elders in the family, or sometimes it is due to some other factors. Many mouths to feed, many people to take care of, so many things are there. Or it could be due to some addiction and all other things. Somewhere the money is going. And this is step one to getting to a place of healing this issue. Step number one is to look at the factors that were in play. Step number two is to understand that this is not an accident. Why was I born in poverty? That reason is not an accident. It cannot be. There is a reason. Why somebody else? Why my friends had so much and I did not? There is a reason. Maybe I'm being prepared for something, to receive something which my well-endowed, well-equipped, financially, economically well-equipped friends cannot. They cannot do what I am doing, or they cannot do what I am being called to do. So, if we let that shame, the suffering, the pain, the sorrow connected with it, if we allow that to be released at the feet or at the altar of that which we call God, by whatever name, whatever form we invoke this God, whatever gender, then I am letting go of my fallibilities. I merge in the infallible, so my fallibilities I have transcended. In other words, I have given my fallibilities to God, and the fallibilities become an instrument of something else that is supposed to come through me. There is the story of the two water pots, which this man used to carry up the hill on a, what is that called, stick, and on both sides were hung with a rope water pots. He used to carry it up the hill, and then on the top of the hill was a Shiva temple. The water was to bathe the deity there. The waterman used to carry that and go offload the pots, and the pots would be used for abhisheka, for puja. And then the pots would be returned and the water carrier would carry them back. Now one of the pots had a small crack. By the time it went up the hill, half the water was gone. And the other pot was the bully pot, taunting pot. You are a waste of time. You are imperfect. You don't even carry your weight in water. You are just a useless thing. Look, me, I have enough water after I bathe, distribute as prasad. What are you doing? Nothing. You are useless. And the crackpot internalized this. Crackpot felt very sad. I'm not doing my job. I'm a useless pot. And Maybe I will be even retired, unceremoniously taken out of this. What should I do? It cried and prayed as it slept. This is from a time when pots could talk, okay? Yeah. When pots had thoughts. And when pots had dreams, because the cracked pot had a dream that night. Lord Shiva himself appeared and said, let's go for a walk. I want to show you something. What walk? Yeah, I'm no good. No, just come with me. Reluctantly, crackpot goes with Lord Shiva. And then Lord Shiva says, is this the path that you take up the hill? Yes, this is the path that we take up the hill. Hopeless pot. And then what? Just look to the left. What is to the left? Nothing. Look to the right. Oh, it's all green and pink and purple, yellow, pretty, nice wild flowers. Oh. And the pot, falls at the feet of Lord Shiva and says, see how nicely you made the flowers grow. Lord Shiva says, not me. You made the flowers grow. You made the flowers grow. It irrigated all this. One side, Lord Shiva said, see, you're not only contributing water, but you're also contributing flowers for the temple. Crackpot says, I'm going to get rid of this epithet. No longer crackpot. And it cracked a big smile. And then, what is the moral of the story? Even our imperfections, real or perceived, because really there is no imperfection. One is perfect. What is this. Even our imperfections, dedicated to Bhagavan, have a wonderful effect. Even the imperfections can serve. Sometimes one is an inspiration even without wanting to be, without trying to be at all. One is an inspiration. But in order to do that, one has to let go. I let go. I let go. When I let go, I grow. Letting go saves me from getting low. Yes. Hello. Who is talking? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Thank you so much for being here. So if I'm going back to first principles, if I can be bold to ask you this question, I'm curious what your personal experience of God is. I'm trying to grow in my own faith. I'm Christian. But I'm glad you said trust yesterday and not belief.
Yes.
Sometimes I struggle with belief. So since you're a great figure of faith, I figured I would go to the source and hear your own personal, what God is to you, what strengthens your sense of belief.
Everything is God. Even if it looks odd, it is God. That is what we have to go on. And this is indeed the vision of Vedanta. Tree, God. Sun, God. Ocean, God. Sand, God. Water, God. Fire, God. Everything is God. And this is all very easy. Here is not where the rub is. I can easily look at the ocean. I can go there and say, yes, Ishvara, Bhagavan, God, wonderful. Very nice. Ocean is a manifestation of God. No problem there. But what about people? And what about people close to me? Horror of horrors. How to how to see the in-law as God, especially if the in-law behaves like an outlaw. How to see them as God? This is where the practice is. The whole Hindu tradition can be summarized in one sign. Namaste. This is what it is. You see, two hands, each one is different from one another. The dominant hand is bigger than the less used hand, they say. And then after that, even the fingerprints don't match. Every fingerprint is different, so that they can catch us easily, okay? Yeah. And the sizes of the fingers are also different. Yet, when they come together at the heart, something happens. The differences are not gone. They are there, they are acknowledged. But I see something beyond the differences. I do not convert the differences into division. That's the problem. Differences don't have to scare us. Of course, I'm different from you. You are different from somebody else, and another person is different from you. No problem. We can appreciate. Just like when you go for brunch, everything that you go on the line, if each thing is the same, it will be very boring. Yeah. Different things. Texture is different. One is liquid, one is solid, one is semi-liquid, one is something else. There is bread, there is so many things, there are fruits. Each thing is very, very different. They scare us because in our mind we subjectively transform the differences into divisions. Divisions are scary. And so we say that there are two aspects to this God. One is what I just talked to you about, immanent. Immanent means present, right here, right now, everywhere, everything is God. And for God to be God, God cannot be any one thing. So that everything is Bhagavan. Bhagavan is not any one thing. That is what is the transcendental aspect. Transcendental means that Sat Chit Ananda Satyam Jnanam Anantam, that which blesses, upkeeps everything. Every presence is only God's presence. There is no presence outside of God. There is no sentience outside of God. We live in the borrowed sentience. This body, mind, sense complex borrows the sentience from God, borrows the existence from God. So everything that exists is nothing but a manifestation of God. And then, but we cannot say that God has lost weight because after giving a little bit of herself, himself to every single person on the universe, there is no more God. We don't say that. That is that seen from the transcendental aspect. That which gives without losing anything. And the example that we give is the sun. When the sun shines, it does not become very small and lose all its shine. Maybe in several million years, but we are not there yet. Right now, it doesn't lose the shine. It blesses everything without becoming any one thing. And so, when we live like that, so the transcendental aspect is something that will come in time, which is appreciated through the pursuit of this knowledge. But the immanent component or aspect of understanding, the immanent way of understanding God, is actually a very big relief. It's a breather, it's wonderful. I can just go and see myself surrounded by holiness. And That's why we like beautiful places like this. But the beautiful places we may be living in, the same attitude can prevail. Same attitude can prevail. And we see this in where I am in the ashram in Rishikesh. Rishikesh is a holy town on the banks of the Ganga. And then sometimes we invite the sadhus in the other ashrams for lunch. And they all come. And they say, they look at all the things in the plate. And they say, this is chapati, chapati God, roti Bhagavan, they say. And then dal Bhagavan, dal is God, roti, chapati is God, chawal Bhagavan, rice is God, sabji Bhagavan, the vegetables that go along with the rice, that is also God. And of course the sweet dish, gulab jamun, Bhagavan, with the capital B. That is also Bhagavan. And they also say, when they want to ask for something, they say, please give me Bhagavan in the form of a little more dal, please. And the person who is serving in the buckets with the big ladle, that person is also going saying, Roti Bhagavan, Roti Bhagavan, Roti Bhagavan, Roti, Roti, Roti. He won't say Roti, Roti Bhagavan, Chawal Bhagavan, Dal Bhagavan. This, in the beginning, one might think, what is this? All these fellows are gone crazy. But it's not. It's just a wonderful way to live. And when we see these sadhus eating and suddenly they break into song in the middle of the meal, because it's all just so happy. It's just there's a spontaneity. And then when we live in the world without this consciousness, that spontaneity is gone. One becomes jaded, faded, and a blah life, a mechanical life. Got to go do this, got to go do that. No time to stand, no time to stare, no time to just be. Have to take the time. Start with breathing. Breathing is what? Bhagavan, yes. Any question I ask, the answer is Bhagavan. Okay, yeah. So, start with breathing and see that the lungs, which are such a complicated pair of organs, amazing how they can filter the air and get rid of the toxins in the body and oxygenate the blood. It has to be Bhagavan. Can you do that? No. Can I do that? No. It has to be Bhagavan. And then by the time we think of all this, then it is time to breathe out if one has not turned blue in the face already. And then breathing out is also Bhagavan. Air is Bhagavan. We do this all the time. This is how we pray. Namaste Vayo. In one of the prayers I'm chanting, it comes. Namaste to Vayu. Namaste means I see you beyond the name and form. I see you as Bhagavan. I bow to Bhagavan in you, as you. That's why the same Namaste, I can say Namaste to you, I say the same Namaste to the altar behind me. Namaste. Same thing. No difference at all. And so, when I do that, then I am filled with awe. And that awe is missing in life. When the awe is missing, it becomes awful, okay? Yeah. To get back that awe, and it starts with breathing. Just sit and breathe. You don't even have to tell anybody I'm breathing. They expect you to breathe. You can do it in the office. It's the most normal task. You can do it in the office. You can do it by yourself. You can do it in a busy, crowded street. You can do it with people, surrounded by people. Take the time to just exhale, inhale mindfully for as long as it takes to go from awful to awesome. And then the presence is not lost. Even your own presence, sacred, holy presence, Bhagavan.
Swaminiji, there is a question from online.
Yes.
Yes, I will read it.
Yes.
Namaskaram, Swaminiji. Blessed I am able to submit a question seeking clarification. being in North America and trying to live subjectively in India and observe dharmic responsibilities as a son to take care of my mother, who is over 97 years old, at home. Could you please help me to be a dharmic son?
You already are. You already are. Just know that. This is a precious time. And she is a precious being because she gave birth to you. And even by herself, she is a wonderful person. She is who she is. And you are supporting her in her golden years. You are helping her transition from this body to the next. And that is a very, very noble thing. Be gentle with yourself. Whenever something is dropped, it's okay. It happens sometimes. And protect yourself from self-blame. Have compassion. And know that even though you don't think it's enough, you are doing the best you can. There are some hands here. 1, 2.
Thank you. My question.
Yes, you were also there, yes.
My question relates to the current state of the world. You know, when we look right now, you know, we have like 2 wars, we have climate change, we have inflation. There's so much overwhelm, you know, wherever you look. And, you know, you can read, we are running out of time. You know, sea level is rising, this and that. So this is this jaded, faded that you just mentioned. Now, I zoom out. If I zoom out and I look at the universe, and I look at the million years that have passed, and I look at the million years that are going to come, I become aware that we are a speck of a speck of a speck of a speck of a speck. And then I look at the teachings, I look at Vedanta, where Krishna is saying, I will come back, and I will come back, and I will come back. And there is duality here. So there's no way that, you know, wars will ever end. They're like 2 very different
Realities.
Yes, realities. And then I work in the field of sustainability, different here, making difference there, teaching there. How do you reconcile? How do you reconcile these very different realities?
You can't reconcile. That's why you live in the other reality. That's what you do. You can't reconcile because they are 2 drastic things. So, here is a clue. If there are 2 realities and Sat is only one must be more real than the other. This is the clue. Okay? And so then we have to see, where am I called to inhabit? Am I called to inhabit this world of divisions? And am I called to live there as though this is the truth? Or am I called to know my nature? And when I know my nature, I'm free of sorrow and I can actually be useful to others. Because I discover in myself a non-reactive, a non-angry, and a tranquil person that can actually help without identifying with every passing challenge, without being affected by that either. So, when we see the empirical reality, we know that it is time bound. We know that there will, like you said very nicely, there will always be wars. There will always be political parties, which will always be corrupt. And there will always be leaders. One goes, the other one comes. They will always be fighting against one another. There will always be all these things. We can easily see that they are all there. These are the ingredients of what we call the Jagat. But the Jagat comes and goes.
If you come to some of the ashram in Rishikesh, some of the ashrams, and ask the sitting Swamis, oh, this Jagat is full of sorrow, Swamiji, what shall I do? And the Swami will say, what Jagat? Where is it? And so, to inhabit the reality, that is me, is very, very, very important. We don't need to dismiss the Jagat. We can live in it objectively. Right now, how are we living in it? Subjectively. Because one is affected by even another person. What to talk of wars and strife and everything. I want the whole world to behave according to my likes and dislikes. This is a very tall order. And so I learned to live firmly in Brahman as Brahman. And I'm going to save one of the satsang times to offer some practical tips on how to have ananda in the everyday life. How to do that. We will spend one time, one satsang time doing just that. And so that will make it very, very clear. The point is to be not taking sides and not getting affected by all the things that are going on. Because, if you look 50,000 years ago or something, the Greenland was tropical, really. So at that time I'm thinking, maybe the human beings were freaking out like we are. Oh my God, climate change. Oh, it's all green. Now suddenly it's all frozen. Now all the icicles are leaving. So we have to see that there is, even the disorder is part of the order. Until I know the order, I don't know the disorder. And I cannot fully know the order, but I trust that there is an order. And that trust itself helps me to negotiate the day to day. And then, as you said, there is very little time. We better get this knowledge. Really, that's the only thing to do. She's had her hand up for a while over there. You don't have the question anymore? Okay, it's gone. Yeah, here.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I'm trying to put it in a very simple way. Is that if the perpetrator is getting weak and the victim is settled, sort of strong,
Yeah,
sort of,
okay.
and needs victim's help
Needs help.
from victim.
Or needs the help from the victim. Oh, very
But-
interesting. Okay,
but
go
the-
on.
But the victim
Yeah.
having hard time to forget and forgive,
Ah, yes, yes. Correct.
but
Yeah.
he or she
Mm-hmm.
is needed,
Yes.
has to help the
Mhm.
perpetrator.
Mm-hmm.
How can a victim, well, there is forgive, forget, I'm not going there, impossible.
Mm.
How the victim
Yeah,
can
yeah,
survive
yeah.
without having impact on his or her loved one,
Yeah.
and do the procedure.
Mm.
Am I clear?
Yeah, very clear.
Thank you.
So, the thing is, The one who identifies as a victim, right? The hurt one. The one that has been hurt. And here is the one that's the perpetrator. The victim, the so-called victim, does not have to help. Actually, the person is no longer victim, in a way. That's what I'm getting to. Person was a victim, but has survived. Whatever the perpetrator has done has survived that and has come to a place of strength. And the help is being needed by the perpetrator. The person has a choice. You need not go and help the perpetrator. You can say, I am not, this is not for me. That is a choice. You can guide the perpetrator to other resources. The world is full of resources. It's not just you. Full of resources there might be, and we can guide the person to use those resources. Don't have to do it. The victim who had I don't like the word victim because the person is not in that place anymore. So the person who was victimized, how's that? The person who was victimized has a choice, does not have to do this. There is nowhere, no law that says, no rule that says that the person who is victimized has to help the one who has hurt them. This is one level of understanding, and the person who was victimized will be fully in their power to say no to this situation and to arrange for some other help any other way. You outsource the help. You say, go see this person, go get this person from something else, whatever. And then there is another way to look at it. If the person who is victimized, who has been victimized, is in a spiritual place, is in a place of growth, and has the support that he or she needs, can grow out of the hurt, the rage, the anger, the pain, and extend a hand to help. Even again, here also one has to be cautious, because in extending the hand to help, it must not be some kind of a dysfunctional relationship. Because again, if it's a dysfunctional relationships, because already again the relationship dynamics are hierarchical and everything, it may fall into that person getting hurt again. Therefore, if one is in a place to forget, one has been prayerful, one has done the inner work to resolve that pain, it is possible to be forgiving, it is possible to reach out and help the person to the extent that it is possible. It is possible. Both those things are possible. And the choice is there. Even when we think there is no choice, there is a choice. So there is some choice there. I'll be happy to meet with you and talk to you more about this if you like. Yeah. Yes.
Om Namah Shivaya. My name is Mary. And I think you've answered this a little bit. I just wanted to ask further. I'm a voice teacher. I'm a singing teacher. And I never liked to teach adults because there were so many concepts and they were rigid and they couldn't grasp the concepts. So it wasn't until I studied an instrument myself as an adult and I realized how hard it was to learn. And so then I started teaching one concept at a time, and they started to grasp it. And now, so you said you were going to give us practical tips. Is there a step-by-step guide for older adults like me?
Yes, for everyone. Step by step, we will have a discussion on what is step number 1. Yeah. Steps to manifesting the Ananda in our everyday life. Yes, we will talk about that. Promise. Here and then here. This person raised their hand first.
hand. Please raise it very high so that I can see from wherever I am.
And then after that, here, Janhavi, okay? Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, I feel like maybe this is like, I probably could answer this myself, but I'm just not able to process through it. But I think the climate change issue that you were talking about is so weighty, or feels weightier maybe than all of the other suffering in the world, because at least what we're hearing from the science is that it means sort of mass devastation to the which we survive from. So it could be the end of our of humanity, right? Potentially. And so with that, like, I can grasp the idea of living in a world with suffering. I guess I'm struggling with, if we are all gone from this planet, does that then inherently mean that we have all reached Ananda? Or does it mean that we're all back to becoming the one-celled amoeba? And then what about people who are on the path? I guess that's what I'm
No more one-celled amoeba. Okay. Once you attend Vedanta classes and you have committed to a spiritual life, no more one-celled amoeba. It's not logically possible, because you will need a human body in order to gain this knowledge. Because as you have seen, even though the cats attend the class, they are not getting this. It is for us. Yeah. 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 So that means there is it's like, gone means we are not going anywhere. Maybe we'll go to another planet. That's all it is. Nothing goes. Nothing comes. Nothing goes. Least of all, and when this is true of inert matter, what to talk of the conscious being? Conscious being does not come to an end. Just like changes, just like everything changes form. You burn something, it becomes carbon dioxide, like that. So this body also changes forms. And climate change, many things can be done still. And whatever we can do, we should do. And then the cycle of the world is there. That's how it is. Things get worse before things get better. Someone said, Krishna said he would come. Why isn't he here? Because there are satsangs going on in all the ashrams. Because we are studying the Bhagavad Gita. Because there is still spiritual life. Not yet time for him to come, or Jesus, or any kind of a help. Because there is, there are things in the world where we can help ourselves, where we can help another. Things are going on where the best of ourselves is coming out. And so part of it is looking at that carefully. Yeah. And paying attention to that. That will help.
It's, I think, similar to the other lady's question, but the person maybe not quite a perpetrator yet, but if someone's behavior is hurtful to you and to others, how long do you remain compassionate to that person if you're sacrificing your own well-being and others? When do you stop letting things go and stand up for yourself and what is right?
Sometimes there are financial constraints, though that is very real. We can't say to somebody, leave this relationship because it is very hurtful, because there may be children involved. They may be sharing finances. There may be so many other things we do not know. And we cannot fault another for not having the courage. We can never do that. We have to have the compassion to see that, to understand a basic thing. If something is hurting, what is the impression? I want to go, right? I don't want to be in a hurtful situation. If the person is in a hurtful and so there is no clear answer, it is by a case by case basis. So there has to be financial independence, otherwise, how to leave a toxic relationship? It is not possible. Financial independence must be there, and then sometimes the financial independence is not enough. There should be enough self esteem and courage. It's a process. We can help the person slowly, without judgment, to come to the place of understanding that they are not, that they don't have to be in this situation, in this choiceless situation. That there are other options available. Even if you just see that, for the person to see that it's new. And that itself may be inspiring for them to then pick up that thread and build on that. And so the process sometimes is slow, and sometimes to the person who is a loved one, it looks frustrating. And it looks like, why is this person putting themselves in this situation? We have to understand that right now they are doing their best. And this is what one can. And one can support to a certain extent without supporting the dysfunction. You support compassionately without, or I should even say, you support dispassionately without supporting the dysfunction. You support the person rather than the behavior or the dysfunction, to the extent that that is even possible. Yes. Yes.
To continue in this dynamic about a situation, and you just said that to the other person about the victim was not anymore a victim and has a choice to help the person who was hurting her. You mentioned about forgiving and forgiveness. Sometimes it's hard to forgive.
Of course it is.
Yes. It's just like I have this sentence of Nelson Mandela, He said, I was 25 years or 27 years in prison. And he said, every day I was not in prison, I was a free man. Those guards were in prison. And although I'm a very happy person most of the time, and I'm very privileged to have amazing children, I do carry a lot of anger. It's difficult for me to forgive. And I try, and sometimes I do good, and sometimes I fail, so it's difficult, the forgiveness.
Yes, it is not easy. First we begin with ourselves. When we are able to softly look at ourselves, when we are able to look at ourselves with compassion, the forgiveness comes. It definitely comes. When we are able to say that, I did my best and I'm still angry. I did my best, but I still have these feelings. And I need to first forgive myself. I need to be gentle. So, give yourself a big hug and allow yourself to just be who you are, because you are perfect. Anger is not really your anger. Anger is a response to a situation that is unfair. And so whenever there is a situation that one deems as unfair, what comes? Anger only comes. What else will come? And so then you see, now it is no longer my anger. It is a psychological manifestation that in these situations of injustice, anger comes. So it's no longer my anger. I can let go. I can let go there, right there. And that becomes a psychological law. And if it is a psychological law, wherever we talk of universal laws, it is another name for Bhagavan. What happened? I told you that even after telling the answer, it is not coming. It's another name for God. Anger is God. God is not angry, but anger is God. It's an emotion. And the emotion we can trace. Why is there this anger? We can trace it. And it's not your anger. Given this situation, anybody would be angry, you see? And so then we look at the anger as, I didn't know this, but there is a volcano in me. It's coming out now. Pretend you're in Hawaii, okay? Yeah, just enjoy the volcano. Just say, yes, there is this volcano. But then, what can I do with my free will to manage the anger? Number one, I don't target myself. I don't implode. And then I don't let this anger hurt others. Those two things. I don't target others with my anger. I don't target myself with my anger. Oh, you're taking all the fun out of this emotion. I can't target others, I can't target myself. What should I do? Write it out. Every day, write it out. Every morning, write out all the annoying things in your life. It takes 5 minutes. But then make sure that this practice makes sure that you have a very pleasant day. Because the person who is making you angry is right in your face, okay? Right in front of you. Why? Because it's an ashram, all right. And they are everywhere, right there. And so what do? Because you have written it down. You have written down all the choicest 4-letter words you knew. And you've had this practice of writing it down in the morning. Then you see them 10 minutes later. Hello! Isn't this a nice day? See? Yeah. This is how you manage the anger. You manage it. Slowly, slowly, it will know. The anger is also a little child that does not listen to reason. The little child needs compassion. If you tell the child, don't be angry, what is it going to do? Be more angry. It's not, etc., called the inner child. The inner child is a frozen one in time. Here is the adult. Frequently this happens. Wanting to learn Vedanta and coming to the ashram. But the inner child comes along as a stowaway for free. Without paying excess baggage. It comes. And then it gives trouble. It says, no, I'm going to run the show. No, but I have satsang. No, you're not attending satsang because you're going to take care of me. And so you better have a relationship with the adult. Needs to forge a relationship with the inner child. Not now. Later. In the beginning it's going to say, yeah, right, like you've never taken care of me. You've always done your own thing. You have to gain its trust. And you have to spend some time with it. You have to reparent the inner child. Even though it's very tempting to give it off to somebody else. Here, take, babysit. Frequently the guru becomes the target, Flying babies in all directions. So, we have to learn to parent it. Guru doesn't know how to parent. Guru can just play with a rattle for 2 minutes. Yeah. And stop the inner child from getting rattled. Okay? And then what? Then you have to take it back. And you have to raise this. You don't make it disappear. The inner child is afraid of being decimated and becoming irrelevant to one's life. So what you do is you integrate it. It is not decimated. It is not discarded. It is embraced. You have to spend a little bit of time with it every day. And this writing practice is very good. Sometimes you write with the non-dominant hand. That's also very nice. because that will be the, that will be the voice of the inner child. Just ask, how are you doing today? What is going on in your life? What's happening? It will give you lots of information. And then, slowly you are on a journey. A journey of inner integration, which is very needed for internalizing Vedanta. Because Vedanta is what? Non-duality. So if the anger is coming up, celebrate it, because that means one is ready to take the next step. Celebrate the anger, hug the anger, and resources are out there. There is some inner child workbook, inner child book, so many things are there. All of them will help. Janhavi?
So if you have an inner child and an adult, so that's a duality. So does that mean you want to get rid of both of them? And
No,
just
no,
be one
you
of-
don't. No,
what do
you don't
wanna-
get.
I want to, and I just want to throw in something. I was in a situation where there was cruelty and whatever, and I left 16 years ago. But it amazes me how, not often, like once a week, I'll think of an instance that was cruel, that was 20 years ago. And I don't want to, because it's in the past and it's over.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and I mean, 90% of the time I'm good, so I don't understand how I get rid of those little images of, oh my God, I remember when this happened or that happened, because it's over and I made a choice.
Yeah.
And it was a good choice, but
You are right. It's over on one level, but on another level, it has left a residue. You're not dealing with the situation, you're dealing with the residue. And that's a very good thing to understand. You're dealing with the shadow, not with the thing itself. You're dealing with the patina. And so you're dealing with the memory. And that you're not dealing with the situation. Thank God. Situation is gone. 15 years ago, 16 years ago, gone. You're in a healthy place. You're dealing with the memory, which is the shadow, which is the pain. It's not the real pain, it's a remembered pain. And so the remembered pain belongs to the inner child. You just have to give it a hug and say, you are safe now. You are free now. You are not being hurt now. You are not in danger now. These 4 sentences keep repeating to yourself whenever the memory comes. And it won't. It will recede. That's all it needs. Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for presenting these teachings in a humorous way. It actually delivers so much better. In regards to dysfunctional relationships, I have all these concepts of right doing, concepts of being on a spiritual path. You talk yourself into a lot of things. And you can walk away from a partner. What happens when these toxic relationships are your parents? So I'm in a very, very difficult situation, thinking part of me wants to divorce and walk away, and part of me says, oh, come on, you could show more compassion, show more understanding, show more love. But what if it's hurtful? I can't integrate.
Not yet.
Because it's the parents.
Yeah. Not yet. And it's okay. The parents, again, sometimes there is a lot of hurt there, and it's okay. It is a choice. People often give themselves the freedom to go no contact for some time. And it is an option. I'm not saying it's the best thing for you. That you have to decide. But it is an option. Why? Because one is not in the place of being able to see past what all has happened. There is too much reactivity. There is too much re-stimulation. One is being triggered all the time. So you need a little period of going away and setting your own house in order. You cannot put them in order. Okay? They may be out of order or they may be in order, we don't know. But you cannot put them in order. The best you can do is be responsible for yourself and put yourself in order. Sometimes to take the time, it's a very beautiful thing and it's a very spiritual thing to take the time to put yourself in order. And it does, even in functional relationships of parent and child, after the child grows up, it goes away for some time. Yeah. You don't live in the parent's house all the time. In countries like India, you used to, but even there, it's changing. You go away, you make your own life, and then you find yourself, because otherwise what happens is that there is too much of an enmeshment. You are just echoing, them. And it's important for everyone, and Carl Jung used this word, to individuation, meaning discovering, at least on the level of the everyday, who you are. What is your personality? All these things to discover is important. So sometimes it happens naturally as a process of growing up. Sometimes it does not happen, and we have to make that happen. And that's okay. And strengthen with this, then perhaps you can integrate. Then perhaps you can see that you can see God in this parentage. You can see that this is a manifestation of God. There is a reason why I have these parents. It has done something to me. It has altered me. It has made me X, Y, and Z, whatever it has made you. It has brought out certain things in me, which I can perhaps share with the world. You can think like that. You can see that. But maybe not yet. Maybe you need to see, you need to develop a little bit of inner space. Even if you cannot have outer space, develop inner space through the practice of meditation. Japa, meditation, daily study of Bhagavad Gita, all this helps. And then you become internally strong, and whatever happens externally doesn't matter.
In my experience, and this is good, I think, I've grown and I've become myself, and then when I'm myself with people who are dysfunctional, whatever you want to call it, you run the risk, and I've experienced this, of the person totally rejecting you. I have a son who hasn't spoken to me in 3 years because I was myself. So, but Vedanta has helped with that, and it's okay. It's okay, because I don't see him as my son. I just see him as a person. He's just a person. Like maybe you don't see your parents. Your parents are just people. Your children are just people, and everybody is a person, and there's a whole world of people. And so you owe it to yourself not just owe it to yourself, but the only way is to be yourself. But then be ready. Be ready, because lots of other things can happen that are also challenging, and then you stay steady.
Well, very well put. Yes. See? Yeah. Who knows a joke? You know a joke? Okay. Okay, tell. Wait for the mic. Wait for the mic.
And we laugh. We couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, but we speak into the mic. Yes.
Okay, that's the joke. It's not long, but okay, it has to put in perspective. So,
Come here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I should not come.
Yeah. Come.
Well, I have shorts. You all have.
No, it doesn't matter. Come.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
And it all concerns us, this joke.
Yes.
So we're in a weekend for growth, and
Yes.
we're the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and people's from in Canada, and we're all there trying to know about our life and having breakthroughs. And then somebody has a breakthrough on Friday, and this guy has a breakthrough on Saturday, and those guys has breakthroughs coming, and it's just like people have breakthrough, and they're getting about her life and my life, and there's a woman, she's there and she's miserable because she's fighting to have, a breakthrough, and she can't have a breakthrough. And then it's like Sunday, and everybody went to the microphone a couple of times, but she's just miserable on her chair, and she can't have a breakthrough. And we're all like, poor her, when is she going to have a breakthrough? Maybe she's going not to have a breakthrough. So finally, the seminar ends at 10 o'clock, and it's tick-tock, it's 20 before 10. And she get out of her chair, she runs to the microphone, she grabs the microphone and says, I have a breakthrough. So the leader said, yeah, we'd like to hear about your breakthrough. And we're all like that, sitting, and she's going to have a breakthrough, So then she said, I know, I'm a doctor, and I know my breakthrough is to go in Africa, and I'll be a doctor for Without Frontier. And that's where I will be having an amazing life. And she's all excited. And the guy says, no, that won't happen. So we're all there. Come on, it's 20 to 10. And, we had all breakthrough. Just give her a chance, just the poor lady. Say, no, this won't happen. So we're all there. It's like, why is it not going to happen? That's not fair. She's been waiting for that breakthrough. So we're all that. And she says, why it won't happen? And the guy says, there's somebody waiting for you there in Africa. So we're all there like, she knows nobody in Africa, and how come there's a person there in Africa? And this thing won't happen, or breakthrough. So we're all there, who's that person in Africa, And then she has to, the leader, I don't know nobody in Africa, so how can there's a person, as this won't work, my life won't be different. Say, it's you. You are already in Africa. It won't work. Imagine. So by that time, so it was 20 to 10. We had this amazing weekend. We had breakthroughs and breakthroughs and breakthroughs. But suddenly all our breakthrough came to the one only breakthrough. Wherever we travel, wherever we go, even me here with you, we are the problem.
And we are the solution.
And the other. So that was my joke.
Thank you. Shall we close? Yes? Yeah. Tomorrow you can give a bhajan in the beginning. Okay? Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramakaah sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritangurnamidam purnat purnamudachyate. Purnamadaaya Purnamedvanti Shanti Shanti Namaha Harihi Om.